Well, the coaching carousel continues to swing in a circle as Billy Napier has officially been fired as the head coach at the University of Florida. Thank you guys for joining us again. Make sure you subscribe. Locked into Crain and Company. Y'all know what's up. We appreciate you being here. David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback, Blaine Crain, former Western State Colorado wide receiver. Guys, we kind of saw this coming. There's a lot of rumblings about this, whether he won or lost against Mississippi State. The time was going to end for Billy Napier. They did find a way to win that game in crazy fashion. But, David, I'll just start off with you. At a place like Florida, Billy showed signs of life in the second half of the season last year. But this feels like the right move, right? It's a place where we've seen multiple guys go in there and have a lot of success. We know the tradition of that program and what the standard is. And this does feel like the right time to go ahead and move on. I'm in the camp of I'm fine with you letting a guy go during midseason at this point. You might as well rip the Band-Aid off. I've always been that way. Just what's your instant reaction to Florida moving on from Billy Napier?
Well, of all the games that Billy Napier lost, he gets fired after a win. So that's the most college football thing that I can imagine. But the athletic directors are no longer in charge, right? The money movers are calling the shots, very much like our political landscape, where the athletic directors just have to rubber stamp what those decisions are from the guys who are donating all the money in a name, image, and likeness era. And, I don't know Billy Napier personally. From the people that I have heard from who know him personally, he sounds like a great guy, a great member of that community, a great member of his church there in Gainesville. And I wish good guys always won, and I wish bad guys always lost. And that's just not the way it is across this country. You talked about the standard at Florida. He has a losing record there. That should speak for itself after this many seasons. And it's been, 7 years since Florida has won double-digit games. I think 10 games they won in 2019 under Dan Mullen. It's just not good enough. You talked about the standard. That standard was set with Steve Spurrier. That standard was continued with Urban Meyer. This is a top 10, top 15 job in the country. I don't know what they're going to do moving forward now, but it feels like we've talked about Billy Napier being on the hot seat from the second he got in Gainesville, and he got this nickname Sunbelt Billy. And I was really pulling for the guy, even though I'm no Florida fan. But it's time to move on.
Yeah, and Blaine, I did think last year with the way it went down the stretch with DJ Lagway, we all know how the portal works. I think it was the mature decision, like I said, to keep Billy, to give him another chance with this roster coming back, with the momentum they had at the end of the last season, and he just wasn't able to capture that and catapult that into something else. But a quick thing, what you think about Billy overall, but then moving forward, I mean, this is one of the most attractive jobs in the country. Florida is a place where you can not only win, but you can win really big for a really long time. You really don't have to go outside of the state to recruit, but it's a national brand, and you can do that. Just a couple names off the top of your head that if you were Florida's athletic director, you would be calling first.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously the first guy I'm calling is Lane Kiffin.
100%.
And to be honest with you, I'm calling Nick Saban. Who else can I call? I'm calling every person that's ever had success. I'm calling Dan Mullen probably. Why not?
I don't know about that.
Just to see how he's doing. I mean, it looks good over there at UNLV.
Just to say hello.
Just to say what's up. I mean, at this point, look, I just remember, when Billy got hired and, we sat up there and did a show and you told me my thoughts. Didn't like it. Really didn't like the fit. And that's at the end of the day. I mean, look, Billy, congrats. You're rich. I mean, I'm sure you're a great guy. We all want it to work out. But you went 6-7 overall, then 5-7 and 4-8, and now you're 2-4 already. So it's not surprising. But the thing about it is Florida, God, what a job. And the thing about, are you willing to go? Are you willing to go Group of 5 again? Are you willing to? I mean, Golis down at USF. I mean, there's a lot of names out there. Who would take the Florida job? But who does Florida? Deep down, is there on the Florida fans, on the Florida Pulse, is there one guy out there? Is there one guy out there that they really want?
Yeah, Urban Meyer.
Yeah, well, and
Urban's
again, that's a name that's a name you're going to hear. But like to me, some jobs there is we talk about identity for teams and offenses and defenses. When Florida has been uberly successful, they've had a lightning rod as a head coach. Mm-hmm. They've had a guy that's not been afraid to go out and say the things, kind of like you hear Kurt Signetti say, which. Kudos to him in Indiana for locking him up and taking his name off the list. But I don't think you need, and look, David, I agree with you. I root for all the good guys. I wish they always won. But sometimes you need a villain at your place. You need type of guy that's trying to kill Batman, not be him. And I think that's Florida. And I think Lane Kiffin, which, again, do I think Lane would take that job? I think it's one of the few that he would really consider. I mean, we saw what happened with his family telling him not to go to Auburn, this, that, or the other. But you want to talk about a perfect fit from a identity and personality standpoint at Florida, at least from what we've seen in the past. How is it not Lane Kiffin, or maybe even a guy like Eli Drinkwitz, who Eli will say it. Like,
Man,
and I know Missouri's.
It didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. Drinking Gainesville doesn't feel right.
I don't know. Why does it feels more right than Billy? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, again, sometimes you got to have a guy that'll flip the table, not set it.
Mhm.
Like, and I think that's the type person Florida needs. I think Drink kind of fits that mold a little bit. Another name I would keep an eye on, and I know they kind of fell off the map a little bit this year, is Fran Brown from Syracuse. And, you know, you have these rules where you have to interview a certain type of guy to do this or the other. Fran Brown, I'm telling you, can flat out coach. And he would dominate in recruiting.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid to talk that talk. And we've seen him back it up at Syracuse. But, David, to the point that Blaine was making, and this is what I'll say about every coaching search, you can't limit yourself into, well, I'm only going to go get a group of 5 guy that's had success, or I'm not going to touch a group of 5 guy. You've got to go hire the best guy. Who's the best guy? If it's Golish at USF and you truly believe that, you got to hire him. If it's Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss and you truly believe that, you got to go after him and try and hire him. You can't live in this world of boxes because there are no guarantees, but your best chance is to go hire who you think is the best guy.
Yeah, and there are going to be pros and cons for every guy, and that includes guys who maybe don't have head coaching experience, which is even more risky. I mean, we've been hearing Joe Brady's name get tossed around, who's been a coordinator and who was the OC there for that 2019 LSU team and who's in the NFL right now. Seems like he wants to be an NFL guy, quite frankly. But do you go get someone like that who's had a lot of success as a coordinator, who hasn't been a head coach? Or like you said, are you going to let this experience deter you from group of 5 hiring? Not everyone in the country can be deterred from that, but if you're Florida specifically, like I said, Billy Napier earned the moniker Sunbelt Billy. From other teams around the SEC, the very first day he stepped on campus, and then he has a losing record there. And he had as much success in the group of 5 as anyone. So if you're Florida, of course that's going to be in the back of your mind. Drinkowitz is a great name. Fran Brown's a great name. I'm glad you brought those guys up. Look, I'm going to continue saying this as the coaching searches continue to open up across the country. The outlier to me are these guys who aren't coaching right now, but who do want to get back into coaching. That's John Gruden. John Gruden has said openly, I want to coach football again, and I would love to coach in the SEC. I don't think he's coaching at Arkansas. I don't think he's necessarily going to go take the Penn State job. How many other jobs are there? Florida is the type of job you could take. Or I wasn't joking when I said the name Urban Meyer. You could have Florida fans watching this video right now, rolling their eyes, saying, no, he made the wrong people mad. I'm watching Bobby Petrino in his second stint at Arkansas, who already had a second stint at Louisville. I think Urban Meyer's going to coach again. If Florida called him and they hired him, Florida fans would turn really quickly.
Look, like I'll go from World War II. Sometimes you got to work with the Russians, man. Like sometimes you got to work with them. Like when you've been down so long, and the Bobby Petrino cone is perfect. Because
not a good guy. I hope Arkansas doesn't hire him. Not a good guy, okay? But he's coaching Arkansas right now.
Yeah, and they're in every game they play, and they're probably about to beat Auburn this next week. Blaine, I mean, when you look at these jobs that are open right now, and some more are going to come open.
Okay.
Penn State.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Florida.
James Franklin of Florida. No one's talking about that.
Well, we'll say.
Hey, I know if you heard him on game day, he wants to coach again.
Someone's going to hire James Franklin, guys.
Oh, for sure.
I swear he got up there and was like, please, guys.
Guys, this isn't fair. Can we all agree this wasn't fair?
I'm glad he did that interview, honestly.
Oh, me too.
No, for sure, yeah.
I would have done it too. But, like, Florida's the best job that's open right now, right?
Yeah.
It's the best job that's open. Now, I'm not saying by miles over Penn State.
Sure.
But, I mean, let's be realistic. This is the best job. I don't know if a better job is going to open. This could be the best. Florida's a better job than Auburn.
And what if we see Florida State open up in the same year? Like Florida State, I mean, 4 straight losses. You're losing to Stanford last night. It's falling off a cliff yet again. Congratulations on an awesome opening season win against Alabama, but it's not looking good. What if Florida and Florida State open up, Jake?
Well, again, I think I think Florida's the better job. I know FSU.
I'm not going to argue against that. I'm just saying that's two great jobs just in close proximity to each other in the same state.
Without a doubt. And I know there's some coaches, to be honest with you, that would rather be at Florida State and play in the ACC than be at Florida and play in the SEC. Because let's not act like Florida State doesn't have money. If they fire Mike Norvell,
the only risk though is resource allocation moving forward. You would side with SEC over ACC.
Well, if FSU opens up, how fast do we hear Deion Sanders? That's what I'm interested to see.
Yeah,
like I know the health stuff and other things going on, but
hit me with your thoughts on the Urban Meyer point and the John Gruden point.
I would have no problem because look, to your point, would I make Urban the godfather of my next child? No. Would I make him the priest at the local church? No. But at the end of the day, you didn't kill anybody. Like you made mistakes.
They're both on TV.
Yeah,
they're both on TV right now, Jake. It's not like they're behind bars.
Not to hire them. Like if Urban Meyer wanted the job, I think you'd be crazy not to hire him because as much as you may love it or hate it, as much as you believe in the school creed or the mission statement or whatever, it's about winning. And you want to talk about what fixes everything? If Urban Meyer took the job at Florida and started winning at a really high level again, nobody would bat an eye and everybody would defend him. That's how it works in this sport, love it or hate it, and that's how it works in life. But the John Gruden point,
that is the okay. Hit the John Gruden.
Well, to me, I would take Urban Meyer over John Gruden, just because Urban's coached in college before. He's had very, very big successes at multiple places. He knows the lay of the land. He knows what that brand means. John Gruden, it would be a home run PR situation, but how much – and again, I don't want to blame John for what's going on at North Carolina because that has nothing to do with him. But at what point does that factor into the back of the minds of some people with the disaster?
Bill Belichick looks like he's checked out. It looks like he has a complete lack of respect for college football when he built his entire reputation on being the discipline guy, on being the we're on to Cincinnati guy, the micromanager guy, and you come down here and there's been nothing but distractions. You clearly have no respect for college football. I don't even want to talk about that guy. The John Gruden point, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, Urban Meyer, I think Urban Meyer is one of the greatest coaches in college football history, quite frankly, and he's already won 2 championships at the place we're discussing. But 10 years ago, I think that gap would have been even wider because you have to ask the question, does John Gruden really want to come down to the college level and do all the work it takes to recruit? That's what made Nick Saban great. Nick Saban's at high school games on Friday nights across the state when he's not even recruiting a player there so he can strengthen the relationship with whoever that head coach was. Yeah. But in a name, image, and likeness era, where you're paying players, not that you don't still have to be a great recruiter. We talked about this with Shane Beamer, but when it does become some simple math to get some of the top players to come play for you, I think John Gruden would do great. And I wouldn't even be bringing it up if he hadn't just said a few weeks ago, I want to coach college football and I'd love to be a part of the SEC.
Well, see, I don't think there's it's a win-win if it was Gruden or Urban Meyer. And either one of those guys, I think you would see a lot of money pour into the program to be allocated to bringing in players. And let's make no mistake, John Gruden coached in the NFL where it was legal to pay him. Urban, just like everybody else, he knows how to pay him. It's just now they can tell you about it. So I don't know if that learning curve is going to be as big as some others. But to your point, Cone, the landscape has changed so much to the point where Nick Saban got out. I mean, let's look at some of the other coaches, not just in college football, but in college athletics in general, college basketball, all these coaches that have won a lot doing it a certain way. And then the game has changed. But Urban Meyer, I think his biggest strength is he can do 2 things at once. He can be a CEO, really good recruiting head coach, but he also schematically knows what he's doing. Like, and that combination, I mean, even going back to what he did at Utah, you look at some of the innovative things that he's done offensively.
You can't tell me he doesn't want to coach again. I don't care if he says
they all
and,
do,
and him saying it right to our face that he's good on TV. That makes me believe he's going to coach even more because I don't trust a thing he says. It's like Bobby Petrino, and this is a part of the sport that I absolutely hate. Man, I think Sam Pittman is a great guy, and he's fired. I think Bobby Petrino is a bad guy. I think he's backstabbed every program he's been at, but he's the head coach at Arkansas right now, interim or whatever. I don't know what their plans are moving forward, but that's why I think a name like Eli Drinkowitz is going to continue coming up. I'm sorry, Missouri fans, and maybe he stays at Missouri. I don't know, but every program is going to bring his name up because not only do I think that he is a good guy with a great track record, but he can flat out coach some football, man.
And Urban Meyer, again, this is the last point I want to make about Urban. He would be coming into a college football landscape where there's no Nick Saban. Nick Saban's not around anymore. So you want to talk about sucking all the oxygen up from a media standpoint? You want to talk about being able to really be the big dog? What I would love to see is what Saban would think if Urban Meyer got hired. I would love to see his reaction to that because we know the battles that they had between Florida and Alabama for college football supremacy, and they both sippeth from the cuppeth multiple times. But, man, the coaching carousel, it's going to keep going.
What should Billy Napier do, Jake?
Well, I don't know Billy personally, but I'll tell you what I would do. I would take all those millions of dollars, and we would be on the next plane out to the Amalfi Coast. We would not even be talking about football. We would enjoy our monies. And you know what? He's going to want to coach. He's young. Billy's a young guy. And, the question now becomes, would he go back to the group of five? Is that a place where, he feels more comfortable? He obviously had a lot of success there. And now that he's been, in the fire of fires, it's hard to get out of that once you're in it at that level, when you have that money and you're eating those type of meals and you're living that type of life. It's hard to go back and go back and be the coach of the JV team. And I mean, no disrespect to the group of five, but the money you have and the resources you have to be able to do things is a little bit different at Florida than it is at ULL, which I still call them ULL. Sorry, guys. I'll always call them that because that's who we always played against. But, man, what a day. We got more coming. We got an AP poll breakdown that's coming as well. Who knows? There may be some more coaches that get the axe today. We're keeping an eye on Florida State. We're keeping an eye on Auburn. There's a couple other names that you're hearing as well that could be in some trouble. So make sure you're locked into Crain Company and make sure you're subscribed. We're almost to 200K.